Hello students, welcome to School of Mathematical Science. So today we are going to solve the questions of ISI M-Math 2017 paper code PMB. Okay, subjective solution of ISI M-Math 2017. So let's start with the question number 1, which says that n belongs to R such that summation n equal to 1 to infinity mod of n is equal to infinite. That is, the series n is not absolutely convergent. Okay, but n equal to 1 to m an summation an tends to n, that is an is convergent but not absolutely convergent. Okay, let a n plus equal to maximum of n comma 0, and we have to show that the maximum also divergent series. Okay, so actually it is quite intuitively you can feel it that if an is not absolutely convergent, then maximum of n is also not absolutely convergent, maximum of an 0. Okay, so for this what I am going to do, first of all we know that maximum of a comma b, I can write this as a plus I can write a maximum of a comma b as a plus b plus mod of a minus b by 2, right? I can write maximum of a comma b in this form, so I can write this an plus that is maximum of an comma 0. I can write this as an plus 0 minus mod of an minus 0 by 2, so it is equal to 1 by 2 times of an plus mod of an. Okay, so this is our given n. Okay, so this is our given n. Now observe that it is given that this series is divergent. Okay, so let me consider the sequence of partial sum of this series. So let Sn is equal to summation Sm equal to summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an. Okay, so I can say limit n tends to infinity, Sm is equal to plus infinity. Okay, as this series is not absolutely convergent, so this series is divergent, so I can write limit n tends to infinity, Sm is also divergent and it is in infinity. Then for any g greater than 0 however large, we know the definition of divergence to infinity, right? However large, there exists a k belongs to natural number such that mod of Sm minus mod of Sm is greater than g for all m greater equal to k, right? Now observe that these terms, if I have put the value of Sm, I can write summation of n equal to 1 to m mod of Sm greater than z for all m greater equal to k, right? So I can write this is mod of n, just a second, this is mod of n. Okay, now as mod of n is always positive, so I can write summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an greater than g for all m greater equal to k, right? So this is our number 1 equation. Again observe that this series is convergent and converges to a, so this is the partial sum. I am considering this again, Pn is equal to Pm equal to summation n equal to 1 to m an, since then limit n tends to infinity, Pm is equal to a, then for epsilon is equal to 1, there exists a K1 belongs to natural number such that modulus of Pm minus A less than 1 for all K1 greater equal to M. For all M greater equal to K1. Okay. You can see there are two natural numbers. Here is K and here is K1. So we have to choose the maximum of this. So I am choosing K2 equal to maximum of K comma K1. Then from this I can write mod of Pm minus A less than f1 for all n greater equal m greater equal to K2 and summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an greater than g for all m greater equal to K2, right? Now from this I actually can write minus 1 less than Pm minus A less than 1 for all m greater equal to K2, right? And I can write A minus 1 less than Pm less than A plus 1 for all m greater equal to K2, right? So this is our number 2, this is our number 1. Now I have to show this an diverges to infinite, right? So let us start with the sequence of partial sum of this n. So summation n equal to 1 to m an plus, so this is equal to summation n equal to 1 to m, the value of n is n plus is an plus mod of an by 2, right? So I can write this is equal to summation n equal to 1 to m an by 2 plus summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an by 2. Now you can see, okay, this value of Pm is equal to, again I have to write a line here, A minus 1 less than this value is summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an less than A plus 1 for all n greater equal to K2, right? So I can write this quantity, just a second, let me draw another line. So I can write this half summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an plus half summation n equal to 1 to m mod of an. Okay, so you can see I can write this quantity is greater than a minus 1. So I am writing this is equal to half into a minus 1 plus greater than, this quantity greater than half into a minus 1 and this quantity is greater than g. So this is greater than half into g. So it is equal to 1 by 2 times of a minus 1 plus g. Now observe that I have chosen this g however large. So from this I can say limit n tends to infinity, m tends to infinity, summation n is equal to 1 to m a n plus 1 is equal to infinity. Are you getting my point? What I am saying, as this g is however large, so if you are thinking that there is a minus 1 and half, it doesn't matter, it doesn't affect. Okay, as g is however large, so this g balances our a minus 1. Whatever g we need, suppose the value of a is minus 100. Okay, then a minus 1 is minus 101. Okay, now suppose you need the value of g is equal to 10,000. Okay, for this you choose on g1 is equal to 1101. Then this g1 with this a minus 1 will get our required g. So as this g is however large, we can choose the very large value of g, so this tends to infinite, and hence I can say that this series diverges to infinity, and this completes the proof. Okay, this completes the proof. So that's all about this question. So we have done it. So let's solve the next question. Let's solve the question number 2. Actually, it was a very easy question, but it's not looks like a easy question, but it is a easy question. So let me show you how to solve it. The question says that, the question says that E is equal to xyz belongs to R3 such that xyz is greater than 0 and xy plus yz plus zx is equal to 1. Then prove that there exists ABC belongs to E such that ABC is greater than xyz for all xyz belongs to E. Now for this, what I am going to do, I am going to use the inequality AM greater than GM inequality. Okay, so I am going to use AM greater than GM inequality, and I am going to use AM greater than GM inequality in over this. Okay, first of all, observe that if there are n terms x1 x2 dot dot xn, then we know that x1 plus x2 plus dot 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 xn by n is greater or equal to x1 x2 dot dot xn is whole to the power 1 by n, right? So here choose x1 is equal to xy, x2 is equal to yz, x3 is equal to zx. Then use x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 is greater or equal to x1 x2 x3 is whole to the power 1 by 3. Right now the value of x1 is xy, so it will be xy plus yz plus zx by 3 is greater or equal to x square y square z square is whole to the power 1 by 3, right? So you can see it is given that this value is always equal to 1. So I can write this xyz is whole to the power 2 by 3 is less or equal to 1 by 3, and hence the value of xyz is less equals to 1 by 3 to the power 3 by 1 by 3 to the power 3 by 2, right? So now you have to choose ABC such that the product of ABC is 3 by 2. Choose A equal to 1 by 3 to the power 3 by 2, B is equal to 1 and C is equal to 1. Then ABC is greater or equal to all xyz. Okay, that's all about this question. It was an easy question. So we have solved it. Let's solve the next question. Let's solve the question number 3, which says that f such that R2R is an increasing function. Okay, suppose there exist sequences xn and yn such that xn strictly less than 0, strictly less than yn for all n greater or equal to 1, and f of xn minus f of yn tends to 0 as n tends to infinite. Then prove that f is continuous at 0. So we have to show f is continuous at 0. Let us choose a epsilon greater than 0. Let epsilon greater than 0. Since f of xn minus f of yn tends to 0, then for choosing epsilon greater than 0, there will be a there is a k belongs to natural number. Then there exists a k belongs to natural number such that mod of f of xn mod of f of yn minus f of xn is less than epsilon. Okay, now observe that modulus is less than epsilon, hence I can say that f of yn minus f of xn is less than epsilon. Okay, so this is our number 1 and I am considering this our number 2. Oh sorry, for n greater equal to k, for all n greater equal to k. Okay, now so this quantity is less than epsilon for all n greater equal to k, right? So in particular I can put n equal to k. So put n equal to k, n equal to k. So I will get f of yk minus f of xk is less than epsilon. Okay, now it's time to choose delta. So I am choosing this delta as minimum of. Now observe that this xn it is 0, this xk is less than 0 and yk is greater than 0. So what I am going to do, I am making this xn positive by choosing minus of xk. Okay, So and then I am taking the minimum of xk and yk, minus xk comma yk, then delta is greater than 0. Okay, now we have to show that this f of this is 0. So for this, what I am going to choose, I am first of all, let me choose. Now start with f of x minus f of 0. Okay, I am starting with f of x minus f of 0. Now f of x minus f of 0, I already have chosen a delta greater than 0. So for all delta, for all x satisfying the condition mod of x minus 0 less than delta, just observe it. So I can write it minus delta less than x less than delta. Now so minus delta can be xk less than x less than, the delta can be yk. Okay, so I can say that this x lies between xk and yk. Okay, this x lies between xk. Now as f is an increasing function, so I can say this xk, f of xk is less than f of x is less than f of yk. Okay, as f is an increasing function. Now observe that again xk less than 0 less than yk. So I can write f of xk less than f of 0 less than f of yk. Okay, so combining these two, I can write mod of x minus f of 0 is less than f of yk minus f of xk. Okay, just a second. Mod of xk minus yk minus xk mod. Okay, so this quantity is less than mod of f of yk minus f of xk. So this quantity is less than mod of f of xk minus, sorry, f of yk minus f of xk. Okay, now observe that this quantity is less than epsilon for all n greater equal to k. You can put in particular n equal to k, you will get f of yk minus f of xk is less than epsilon. So this quantity is less than epsilon. So for all x satisfying this, f of x minus f of 0 is less than epsilon. So therefore f is continuous at 0, and this completes the proof. Okay, it is again a easy question, but it is a tricky question. You have to think it in exam hall. Okay, so that's all about it. So let's solve the question number 4, which says that do there exist a continuous function p and q on closed interval 0 1 such that yt is equal to sin t square is the solution of y double dash plus py dash plus qy is equal to 0 on 1 by n comma 1 where n greater equal to 1. Justify your answer. By seeing first when you are going to solve this question, and by seeing the question, you will think that this question is different from differential equation, and you will use some methods of differential equations to solve it, right? So but and to be very honest, trust me my friend, this question is not from differential equation, it is from real analysis. Okay, so first of all, we need to observe this question is from real analysis. Okay, so how to solve this question? First of all, they are saying that yt is equal to sin t square. Okay, so I am saying that if possible, let there exist a solution yt is equal to sin t square. If possible, let there exist a solution of y double dash plus py dash plus qy is equal to 0 on 1 by n comma 1 1 where n greater equal to 1. Okay, so what I am going to do, I am saying that solution yt is equal to sin t square. Okay, so now what I am going to do next, let's differentiate yt. So y dash t is equal to 2t cos t, and y double dash t is equal to 2 cos t minus 2t sin t, right? So this is our y dash t. So suppose I have claimed that this is a solution of this differential equation. So this value satisfies satisfying this. So I can say that 2 cos t minus 2t sin t plus p of t into the value of y dash t is 2t cos t, okay, plus yt sin t square is equal to 0. Now observe that this tends to 0 as t tends to 0. This again tends to 0 at t tends to 0. Okay, as this quantity is bounded and this tends to 0. And this tends to 2 as this cos t tends to 0. So 2 cos t, cos t tends to 1 as t tends to 0. So 2 cos t tends to 2. And this quantity tends to 0. So it will be tends to 2 as t tends to 0. Now what I am going to do, I am taking limit as limit t tends to 0 plus, which is possible as this n is greater or equal to 1. So we can approach t, we can approach 0 from the positive part. Okay, so this quantity is 2 plus, just a second, I am writing this again. Right, I can copy it. Okay, this is equal to 0. Now observe that this is 2 plus 0 and they are saying that, observe this, pt is continuous on 0 1. So I can write this as p of 0 into 0 and this again, okay, this is qt. So yeah, this is qt. So this is q of 0 into 0 is equal to 0. Now as q is continuous, so this is a real number, this is a real number. So these two, we know that any real number is bounded. So it will imply 2 equal to 0, which is a contradiction. Are you getting my point? 2 equal to 0 is always a contradiction. So I can say that there does not exist any solution p and q on 0 1 such that yt equal to sin t square satisfying this. Okay, so that's all about the question number 4. So we have solved it. It is a easy question, but first of all we need to observe this question is not from differential equation, it is from real analysis. Okay, so that's all about it. Let's solve the next question. Okay, let's solve the question number 5. The question says that we have to show this fx is equal to integration 1 plus e to the power xs cube plus x to e to the power xs cube plus x e to the power r squared dr is monotone. So we have to show this is monotone. So it will be either monotonically increasing or monotonically decreasing. For this, what I am going to do, first of all, I am writing this fx is equal to integration ux to vx gr dr, where ux is equal to e to the power xs cube plus x, vx is equal to 1 plus e to the power xs cube plus, just a second, okay, so xs cube plus x, so it will be to the power xs cube plus x, and gr is equal to e to the power r square. Okay, so then we know that if we trying to find f dash x, it is nothing but, first of all, it will be g compose vx, g of vx into v dash x minus g of ux into u dash x. Okay, so let's start with g of, the value of vx is 1 plus e to the power xs cube plus x, and v dash x is will be, first of all we need to differentiate it. We will get e to the power xs cube plus x, and then we need to differentiate this, so it will be 3 x square plus 1, okay, minus g of ux, the value of ux is e to the power xs cube plus x, e to the power xs cube plus x, and we need to differentiate it. U dash x will be e to the power xs cube plus x, and then differentiate it, so it will be 3x square plus 1. So what I am going to do, I am taking these terms common. So it will be e to the power xs cube plus x into 3x square plus 1 into g of this. So g of r will be e to the power r square. So g of this will be e to the power 1 plus e to the power xs cube plus x minus its whole square minus e to the, so e to the power, I can write it e to the power xs cube plus x is whole square. Okay, now observe that e to the power x is increasing function, so I can say e to the power xs cube plus x is whole square is less equal to 1 plus e to the power xs cube plus x whole square, right? So each term is greater than this term, so it will always greater equal to 0, and hence f dash x is greater equal to 0. I can say f is monotone. Okay, so it is a easy question. So we have solved it. Okay, I am repeating this again. You can see this quantity is always less or equal to this quantity. Okay, as there is a 1 plus, so this quantity is less or equal to this quantity, and hence e to the power x is an increasing function, so it will be this quantity is bigger than this quantity, so this is always greater or equal to 0. As x square is positive, so it is positive, and e to the power something is always positive, so it is greater or equal to 0. So that's all about this question. It is an easy question. So we have show this f is monotonically increasing. Okay, so that's all about the question number 5. Let's solve the next question.